Guys, welcome back to the channel. So wanted to catch you guys up here on something. I know I said, life happened earlier, but there's some other projects that I've had in the back burner. Been working on here on the side as well, in addition to the bus. Well, I figured you guys probably want to know what I've got going on here with some of my other side projects. So what better way to show you guys what I've been working on? I actually own 4 vehicles, the bus, and a boat. If you guys are curious, I am more than happy to put some video together. I've got some video, I've got probably more pictures, but I'm happy to narrate and talk you guys through all the work. I rebuilt the entire engine and transom on that boat. The engine stock, it was a 5.8 liter Ford. As you can tell, I'm kind of a Ford fan. Ignore that the bus is a GM product, but that's fine. I like American made. But I do prefer Ford when it comes to my daily drivers. But if you guys are interested, that boat, it's got a 351 Windsor Ford engine in it, 5.8, but there's a number of other things that I've done to it when I rebuilt it. Stock horsepower on that would have been about 265. It's pushing closer to 340 now. But if you guys are interested, leave a comment down below, and I'll go ahead and make a video on what all I did to that boat engine and to the transom. It may be a video, it might be 2 videos. But let me know if you guys are interested. So besides the boat, you guys are probably wondering too, what's next with the bus? Well, where I left you guys in the last video, and that was actually just a couple weeks ago, was I needed to work on the linkages and also get bearings for the front axle, at least one side of it. I'm going to replace both. Well, good news, I have the bearings. They are in. I just got those delivered to me last week. Haven't had time yet to put them in, but that is upcoming, and I will take you guys along with me for that as well. You can probably see there's a box sitting on a trailer behind me here. We'll take a quick little sneak peek at what those bearings are, but just know that's coming here in the very, very near future. So here's the bearings. These were a little expensive. We've got some axle seals as well, so these go on the back side of the hub, and then all new Timken American-made bearings are in here. So it's enough for the front axle. So if you guys ever need bus parts, Luke and Bill at US Coach, both of them are fantastic. If you need their phone number, there's their phone number right there. There's their email. Great people, fantastic prices, but just know, if you own a bus, the purchase price of the bus is the cheap part of it. It's the maintenance, the conversion, everything else that comes along with it. That's what starts to add up. These bearings, it's only for one axle. It's the bearings and races, one for each side for just the front. About 800 bucks this was shipped to me. So just be aware of how expensive some of this stuff can get and how quick it can get that expensive. I wanted to let you guys know that the bearings are in fact in, and there is a video upcoming on the bus here very soon. I'm starting to move forward with these, get you guys some more videos here on a more regular basis. And shortly, the goal with the bus the whole time is to actually get that bus back here. So I'd actually like to park it where the excursion is, get this trailer moved off to the side behind this garage behind me. But then with the bus here, be able to film a whole lot more videos for you guys, and I'll actually be able to get a whole lot more work done on that bus and stop neglecting it. Looking forward to that. So I'll take you guys along with me. I appreciate it. But for now, we'll turn you back here. I'll give you a little rundown here on that Sport Trac. And here's the next video to come. We'll be on that Sport Trac, which will turn into the tow-behind car, essentially, on that bus. Anyway, today, I wanted to show you one of the projects that, well, I've actually been wanting and planning on this project for longer than I've had the bus. This is a Sport Trac that I wanted to do a V8 swap. Didn't even own a Sport Trac until just a couple years ago. Bought it with the intention of, if the timing chain ever went on the V6 engine, I'd pull it and install a Ford 302 V8 into it. And I'm doing just that. I've actually had not one, but 2 donor vehicles. I've actually got 3 302 engines that I own. It's been a process. But anyway, I wanted to take you guys along. So we'll show you just a quick little snippet, and then I'll cut to the video here. And I'll probably separate these out into just a couple videos. The first one being pulling the engine and trans out of that. The second video being installing the transmission. And then the third, probably the installing the engine. So I'll show you a little bit of what I've had to do. But I've got a 2004 Ford Explorer Sport Trac. That is the vehicle there. As you can see, it is up on jack stands, but the engine on it currently is pulled. And this I actually only filmed about 3 months ago. So I'm trying to stay more current for you guys here, just to get you back up to speed here and what I've got going on. But I pulled the engine on this about 3 months ago. So I'll cut to some footage here, but before I do, I'll show you a little sneak peek of the engine that I've got that I'm working on putting back together. So in the garage, again, ignore the mess, but this is the 302 that I'm working on. As you can see, I've had the timing cover off, water pump's been off, oil pan's been off, but inside I've been kind of cleaning that up a little bit to get ready for a new intake, new gaskets, and everything else. This engine, while I did buy it from a junkyard, it was running, but I did notice there was a little bit of leakage on one of the coolant jackets, and I actually had a bolt get stuck. The intake is sitting right there. This engine was a running takeout from a Mercury Mountaineer, about a 2000. I was going to use this as my donor block, but this one's actually hydro-locked. I did that, so I ended up having to get a different engine to put into that Sport Trac as a proof of concept. Anyway, wanted to give you guys a rundown here, a little sneak peek here at what I'm working on and what's to come. This is the engine that's going to be installed in the 04 Sport Trac. I just got to finish putting that back together. I figured if you guys are interested in watching me and following along with the work I do in the bus, you're probably interested as well in the work that I'm doing on the Sport Trac here too. Being that it is a little bit custom and there's not a whole lot of Sport Tracs of this generation. This is a first generation Sport Trac. There's not a whole lot of them that actually have V8s, much less a 302 V8 that would have come in a little bit older of an Explorer. So this video, yes, while it is focusing on a different project than the bus, this does relate to the bus. This is actually the vehicle I intend on flat towing behind it. So I figured we'll bring you guys along and show you what I'm working on here for it. That's the Sport Trac, and here's the video from just a couple months ago from me pulling the engine on that. Thanks for coming along. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, new project is working on this 2004 Ford Explorer Sport Trac. It's an adrenaline model. So this Sport Trac is going to get a 302 and then long-term stroked out 302 to a 347. Haven't done anything yet to the Explorer as far as engine prep, with the exception of getting the radiator fan and fan shroud off. Everything else is as it would have been when it was in its running condition. So what happened to the Sport Trac, it's got 240,000 miles on it. Timing chain finally went. The tensioner broke away. The chain on the driver's side jumped a tooth or two, and the valves started hitting the pistons. So this is a 4-liter V6, an interference engine. So when that happens, the pistons start hitting the valves, and game over. So at least on the driver's side. So there's no way I could just replace the chain and the tensioners and call it a day. I'd have to pull out the whole engine and rebuild it anyway. I always said when I bought this Explorer, if the engine needed to be rebuilt, replaced, whatever, it was not going back in. We were going to do a 302 swap. So that's what we're doing today. We're getting everything prepped for it. Here we go with the process of getting this ready to have the 4-liter V6 removed. Stay tuned. All right, so update. It's about 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours later on where we're at here with the Explorer. Here, I'll just show you. All right, so front drive shaft is out, rear drive shaft is out, exhaust is out, the Y pipe as well, all the cats. So those are down there, the Y pipe there, the rear drive shaft, front drive shaft. That is the skid plate underneath the transfer case. Exhaust on the other side here. It's the first half, and then the second half, the mufflers and the resonator. Muffler is rusted all the way through. I knew it had a hole in it. See right there at the bottom. I didn't know I was also rusting a hole right there. You kind of see all along that. I also just got the, it's like a harmonic balancer for the differential drop bracket. So here's the diff bracket right there. And that mounted right up there. You need to get that out to get to the starter. All right, take you guys around again. I'll give you an overview of what was done today. So I'm back at the Explorer, getting everything prepped to remove the engine. Not much has changed since yesterday, but to give you an overview here, starter has been removed. I've got the transmission lines there. They've been disconnected. All the bell housing bolts, so all of those, they are all loose. Cracked them all loose. A couple of the ones on the top I did pull already. Some other work that's been done here with the starter being removed. I've also taken out all the torque converter bolts, or it's gonna be the nuts that hold the torque converter on. So the trans is ready to pull. All the electronics on the transmission itself as well, all the connectors, excuse me, all those are disconnected. All the Christmas tree clips are removed. The bracket up top there, I didn't pull the bracket out, but the bracket is off. That's it for, I think, things back there. Oh, and if you guys didn't realize this or not, I have a big problem on my frame that I have to address. So that is right there. Once everything's done here with pulling the engine, that's the biggest reason too why I pulled the exhaust. Once everything's out here with the engine, this is getting towed to an auto body shop to have that frame patched. So I gotta start making some calls here actually this week to find a shop that'll do it. I've got 2 in mind that can. That's it for today. We'll hit it again here probably tomorrow morning. Tomorrow will be probably an all-day thing. We'll start working from the top to get everything pulled from there. So thanks for joining me, guys. All right, back at it today. What I'm doing, working on the top end at this go-round, working on prepping everything, still for engine removal. Show you what I've done so far. Taking off the transmission lines, 1 and 2. I'll be draining the coolant here shortly. Goal here is to get transmission dropped today and hopefully have everything prepped on the engine for the engine to be removed. So I've got some of the wiring disconnected that goes to the firewall and the battery junction box. I need to see before we drop the transmission, make sure that the vent tubes that come up the bell housing to the back of the engine block, make sure that those are out of the way, the bracket's disconnected, so I can just drop the trans. The transmission, transfer case, all electric has been pulled off of them, the brackets for the wiring. Only thing that's left on those is the 6 bolts in the cross member, that's down. I've got a couple bolts still on the bell housing that are holding it in temporarily. I took out a couple yesterday, but I'm going to remove the rest of them today and get that dropped. So I've already got the transmission jack sitting here. We'll get that ready here after a little while. What I'm going to do while I'm working on the top end is I'm going to start getting the coolant drained out of the radiator, get the hoses pulled, excuse me, and then get the radiator pulled out of there. So making some progress. I'll update you guys here in a little bit. Go up a little bit because we still have the torque converter bolts in there. All right, good. Oh, yeah. Well, there's studs that come through, so we have to slide it back, but I can't slide it all the way back until this is there. I just don't want to put too much weight on there. Yeah. Sorry, usually I can just touch. Okay. We have the video down here. Yeah. Back corners. Transfer case. Alright. We're good, clear. Yep, go ahead and lower it. Okay, hold on. Yep, keep lowering it. Alright. Oh, dude. Dude. Yep. There we go. Go ahead and go that way. Watch your head though. Go get straight back. Clear the. Is it really heavy on your end or no? No, that's good. All right, there's the trans. Thanks, Brennan. All right, next step, engine. Awesome. Awesome. You want to lift it now, center it? Yep, clear that.
It's almost past it. Yeah, we're past it.
Sweet, dude. Oh, that board came in super handy. Yep, go a little higher. I don't want to tilt it more than I have to.
No, I wouldn't.
Seeing how that one side is.
I wouldn't tilt it anymore.
Keep going. Alright, we're gonna pull it out. You want a hand? Nice. We'll set it all the way down. Alright, dude. Nice job. Nice. Thanks, sir. All right, engine is out. That looks good. Pretty stoked on that. Pretty stoked. All right, guys, so it's about day 3 that I've been working on this. So the end of, great news, the engine got pulled. I know you guys just saw that there in the video. Yeah, pretty excited about that. So I got a couple things I got to do. Let's see, engine mounts there and there. I got to get those out. So I might be back tomorrow. I got to drop the front diff in order to access the 2 nuts, one on each side, to pull the motor mounts out. Motor mounts there, they're specific to the V6. So their V8 302 has different ones. So I got to get those, 1 pulled off my donor and then 2 installed here. So I got to pull those first. The other thing is I have throttle cable, which is, let's see, cable right here. That's got to get replaced. Cruise control, which if you, that cable there goes to that box over there, that's got to get replaced. The computer, it's right there in blue. I got to pull that out and drop in the 302 computer. I got some wiring I got to do. That harness that's above the brake booster there, I've got a jumper harness because that goes to your firewall connectors. I got a jumper harness that'll work between that and the 302. I just got to finish that up. It's almost done. All the wires are joined. I just got to finish soldering them. There's also another little harness. I'll show you that. Right down in there. That one right there. That one I gotta make a little jumper for as well. Just differences in how some of the circuits get into the firewall. So that one's got to be modified for, I think, oil pressure goes through there. Temperature, I think, for maybe coolant, oil as well. I got to double check that, look at that. But that harness, I've got it yet to start on that, but I think that one's only got 8, 9 wires that I have to route through. The other thing is I have a brake line, pulling everything off, realizing that the brake line that goes to the passenger front, there was a wiring harness that was rubbing up against that brake line. So I have to get that addressed as well, just get a new brake line, patch that in. That's easy. Yeah, so next steps is to finish getting some stuff cleaned up. I might get the motor mounts tomorrow or the next day. We'll see after work. And then make an appointment to get this to a body shop to get the frame patched. And then I got to finish getting the 302 ready to go, and we'll get the rest in. A lot more work ahead, so this is actually, yeah, probably still an uphill battle here. I got to pull the dash yet, get the PATS anti-theft system module, get that put in. Key's already been programmed. A lot of work still ahead to do, but we'll get there. Thanks for joining me, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.